So we are back again. Looks like today is a non-stop day for this kind of conversations. So I'm out here, of course. When my sage is out to dry, I like having healing conversations around my sage. Okay? I like having healing conversations around my sage, like I said. So for example, right now I'm waiting for my sage to dry. My sage is where iko hapo nyuma inakauka. And since sage, shout out to Gadhoni for the ice cream. Since sage is all about healing na vitu kama hizo, I like having this kind of conversations. So I usually play even music, and this is the tone that I play when I'm drying my sage. This is 432 hertz, which is a relaxing meditation kind of music. So mi ucheza hiyo music na iweka karibu na sage na ache ikauke around that vibe. So for you to understand what you are going through, for me to understand where I'm coming from, I had to look at patterns. Gadhoni, yeah, my sage inameanga kwa shamba yangu. Wenye wametoka kuvuna wako hapa. Okay? Direct from the farm, ndio hiyo inakauka hapo. Nafungwa Saturday. So I had to observe my patterns. For you to heal yourself, for you to know yourself, you have to observe your patterns. So, what are patterns? Okay? A pattern is a behavior that you keep repeating throughout your life. Keyword. Throughout your life. There's no point in life you will not be repeating a pattern. So, if you are raised by narcissistic parents, unless you find the pattern now and you break it, you will always repeat that pattern throughout your life. So, to understand your pattern, okay, and this is a beautiful vibe. You know how, angalia nani huyu, amekuja kwa kidole. The phone, nimeshika nayo mkono, butterfly imekuja. Butterfly is a beautiful thing. Ama utasema ni coincidence. Ameamua tu akuja fly hapo. That's how you get confirmation that you're having beautiful vibes. Shout out to the butterfly. Nimeona tu kuja ikae hapo. So now, yeah, it's beautiful. So, it doesn't want to go. It's still on my hand and imeshika simu. It's okay. So, to understand your patterns, start by looking at your parents. Start with your parents. Before you do any other healing, before you do any other thing, before you check any other thing, look at the butterfly. Bado iko hapa iendi. It's enjoying the environment. May decide kuenda. Shout out to that beautiful butterfly. So to understand your patterns, start to look at your parents. Start looking at your parents. Observe your parents first, because these are the people you came to this world through. Now, after your parents, observe your siblings. For example, I'm the firstborn. So I observe my parents first. Then I observe my siblings, the one we are born with. Then I go to my uncles. Then I go to my aunties. Then I go and look at other closest family members. Remember, you're observing your patterns so that you can understand what you are going through and what you are coming through. Wewe, nani amekuambia uko hoe hapo hivyo on my live? That is one of my dogs. So now, for example, when I look at my father, okay, These are some of the things that I'm going to look for when I'm looking at their patterns. Can my parents regulate their emotions? When I was growing up and I'm observing my parents, could they regulate their emotions, or are they the kind of parents who are always lashing out, fighting? Okay? Are my parents the kind of people who are going to give you the silent treatment to each other? Wamenyamaziana kwa nyumba, sasa wamengadhia. Okay? They are not even saying anything. Okay? Wako in fight or flight. How do they speak about themselves? How do my parents speak about themselves? How do my parents speak about other people? Mama karaja, managulire gikari, one gari maronire magigura. You know those kind of talks. So if you want to observe if you want to learn yourself, observe your patterns. Na tumesema you start with your parents, go to your siblings, go to your uncle, go to your aunties, go to your grandfather, look at the other people that surround you. Keyword, family, the people who are closest to you. Okay? Can they regulate their emotions? When you're looking at your sister, can she regulate her emotions? Your brother, can they regulate their emotions? Do they give you the silent treatment? What is your parents' relationship history? When you are growing up, we are not saying that it has to be perfect, but was it mostly healthy? Did you grow up in a healthy family? Most of the time, we are not saying that it's not supposed to be having conflict, but most of the time, was it highly healthy or highly dysfunctional? Because these are the things that you are going to pick, whether you know it or you don't know it, subconsciously. What are your parents' coping mechanism? Do they talk? Do they heal? Did they used to say sorry? Whatever happened, whenever they had a fight, did they call you as the children? And do you have a history of seeing your mother taking care of herself? Do you have a history of seeing your father treating himself? Do you have a history of seeing your brothers and sisters practicing self-care? When is the last time you saw your brother practicing self-care? Unapiga unasikia mimi niko hapa tu nimetulia, nimeamua nikule kanyama. Wewe kodo ugetulia kanyama hana nikule kanyama. Wewe kodo ugetulia kanyama hana. Your patterns, you repeat which your father was or your mother was or your siblings was. And when you're going through a spiritual awakening, if you don't know how to observe the patterns, you'll always blame yourself for things that you're doing or going through, but you never had examples. You may be blaming yourself for not keeping a job or not running your business, but babako hajai kuonyesha. As an example, your father never had a business, hata ya mai kasimama. So utatoa example wapi? And we learn from our siblings and our parents. Uwezi kaa kwa ndoa, utakaa aje kwa ndoa na uko na mamako kwa ndoa, single lady, ama kama ulikuwa umeolewa walikuwa wameolewa na wanaume waine. So how are you going to learn these things and you never saw them? So you have to observe the patterns before you blame yourself for anything. Give yourself grace. I keep telling you. Wacha kuenda kwa kanisa kuambia uko na mapepo, umerogwa. No, before you get there, angalia kama wazazi wako ndio walikuwa wamerogwa kwanza. Look if that thing is in your pattern. Look at those patterns in your family. Before you blame yourself and take all your mother to shakahola, ati ndio upone. Angalia kama hii kitu ilitoka kwa wazazi wako, walikutapikia na walikutapikiwa na mababu wako. Observe the patterns. You cannot expect love and care from someone who never gave you the same. You cannot take care of yourself if you never learned self-care from your home. You know, sometimes I have conversations with Monjiru ananiambia, "Jagamu dhakasi ukule matunda." And I feel I'm hard on myself. Nasikia pain nikikula apple. Nataka nikate apple nusu juu nasikia I didn't grow around with apple, so I feel like I'm doing such a terrible, like I shouldn't. I can afford all of them, but I feel because pattern in our family we never had fruits, not because we didn't have money, but because the family was so dysfunctional, we never had fruits. So now I'm a grown up. When my spouse ananunua bananas, nini anakuja na apples, kiwi, ananunua dragon fruit, nakuja uza ati dragon umenunua pesa ngapi 300. I'm like, kai, matunda moja unanunua 300. Then I started understanding that it's pattern. yeye hajakuwa na grow na trauma. Yeye hajakuwa na trauma. They were well raised. Whatever trauma they had in their family, their mother did their part to protect the children. So she doesn't have trauma. So it has taken me so much time to understand that I react out of trauma, but for her, she's okay. Munjiro will have no problem. Munjiro atakuja achukue 2 bananas, achukue dragon fruit, aikate mara mbili, achukue apple, achukue passion fruit, atengeneze cocktail of fruits na akae chini na kijiko aanze kukula. For me, I'm like in my mind, even if I have the money in my mind, I'm doing the maths. Gai, ni matunde yote yamekula haki. Then I realized I don't have the problem. It's the pattern. I never saw fruits in our home. In our home, there was no self-care. In our home, there was money, but there was too much things going on. So there was denial. So even as a grown-up, I still deny myself. Sometimes I talk to Monjiro ananiambianga, wewe ndio ndio kitu kiaga, unanunua kiatu mzuri na iacha nje. I'm like, oh, nitaanza. And then I realized I never saw self-care. I never saw my dad or my mother taking care of things. So it's something that I'm learning now. I'm learning to take care of my things. And this is deep because patterns are passed down or they are inherited. Whatever you are going through, whatever is happening in your life, you have to understand that it is inherited. The patterns that were with your father, you are going to notice them with yourself. Your father was a rolling stone. Alikuwa mulevi, anakuja saa 8 za usiku, na hakukuwa na taxi, wewe umenunua Subaru, au uko na Demio, unaingia kwa nyumba saa 8. So it's a pattern. You don't even know why. Hata mtu akuuliza umetoka wapi, you don't even know. Hata una hiyo pesa ya kukunywa, but atisingiangi kwa nyumba kabla saa 6 haijafika. You can be home at 7 p.m. ulitoka kazi saa 11, but your patterns, the patterns, those cycles have been passed down to you. They are inherited. And unless you stop and observe your patterns and decide, I am not my father, I am not my mother, neither am I my friends, I am unique, an unique individual self, spirituality, individuality. There are things that I like, things that I care about for myself. No one is going to laugh at me if I am home at 7 p.m. Patterns. Unaenda nyumbani unasikia, kwani mwanaume anaendanga, kwani wewe ndio unaenda kupika? Those are patterns that you learn from your parents. So one of the best ways to heal is to start practicing what you call, you become a witness to yourself, like the Jehovah Witness, but now you are witnessing for yourself. You're observing out of your curiosity. When you respond to something, una stop unasema, wait a minute. How do I respond to this? Mtu amekupigia amekuambia payment haijakuja through. Before you pick the phone, wewe ulikuwa unajua, no, wait, hold on. How do I respond to this? Why am I reacting out of anger? Then you remember, I saw this with my father. I saw this with my uncle.
Why are
you cannot even repair. Uncle yako alitupwa na bibi yake. Auntie yako alitupwa na watoto 8. Shosho yako umekuwa kila kumtembelea bila babu yako. Babu yako alikaa peke yake. Your cousin ako on the 3rd wife. Your nephew ako on the 4th whatever. So you observe your patterns first. Angalia pattern kwenye umeanza. It's the reason why wanaitangwa relatives. You are related. Relativity. Observe your patterns first. Why are you triggered? Before you think you are triggered because you are triggered, unajua hapana. Yes? Pombe. So acha nimalize hii video nikuchukulie. So you observe your patterns. How am I reacting to this thing? I'm such a hoe. I'm such a hoe. No, you are not a hoe. Observe your patterns. Your auntie is a hoe. Your mother was a hoe. Your shosho was a hoe. Observe your patterns. Angalia familia yako. Before you hate yourself for not making money, angalia familia yako. Angalia mamako, babako, grandfather, auntie. Angalia wote. Do they have anything? Do they have a name? Kwa familia yenu kuna mtu wako na matatu? Hapana. Na mbona unajichukia wewe una matatu? Kama hujanunua matatu, mbona unajichukia? Hakuna mtu kwa familia yenu wako na matatu. Wewe hata uko beta uko na Uber. Na ni yako hata kama ni alone ni yako. Wewe hata unatambuliwa ukienda nyumbani Gishagi. The small Suzuki ndio gari. Hiyo hata ndio unabeba mama in law. Hata kama ni kadogo ndio unabeba mama in law. At least you are doing better. So observe your patterns. Practice self grace. Before you hate yourself for anything, angalieni patterns zenyu kwenye mmetoka. Epigenetics is very real. Patterns are inherited. Stop victimizing yourself. Na mabako asikuje kuambia ati you are not better.
Hauna mbona.
Your mother should not try to make you feel small. Aka niko kakari kali uragurire, anakuambia umenunua kagari kadogo. Na yeye mwenyewe babake, bonako, babako hajamnunulia gari. Na kama babako ako na gari, mamako hajaifanya driving, wewe enda uongee na simu huko. Ama pale kwa live. Okay? So observe your patterns. Observe the people close to you before you hate yourself. You have a problem keeping a relationship. It has got nothing to do with you. You don't even have an example. Because once you observe the patterns, once you do that self-reflection, you no longer be hard on yourself. You stop being hard on yourself. You understand, wait a minute. By the way, why am I so hard on myself? In fact, I'm very well off. I'm doing great. I'm living in a 3-bedroom apartment. It's not my land nimelent, but angalia kwenye nililelewa kwa shanty. I'm actually doing great. I shouldn't feel less of myself. When I look at my patterns, I'm doing better. In fact, I realize they are hating on you for living that better life. Wewe kazi yako ni kuharibu pesa na rent tu. Wewe haribu pesa na rent. Ukuwe na sausage kwa fridge. You raise healed children. Waende group of schools. Hata kama you are saving nothing. Break generational curses. Break generational traumas. Your parents cannot help you. Neither can your government or your religion or your politics. You have to do a self-reflection. And before you condemn yourself, observe your patterns. Before your mother or your father advises you to leave your husband or wife, muangalie mwenye anakupea advice, hata yeye ameachwa. For example, my father cannot advise me on relationships. They have been separated with my mother for over 15 years. Anaweza niambia nini? Haizi niambia to my son, let me advise you about women. No, don't even try to advise me about women. Usijaribu kuni advise about women. Because me, I'm still with my women or women. Wewe hauna. In fact, mimi ndio nafaa ni kuadvise. You are my father, mimi ndio nafaa ni kuadvise kukaa na bibi. Jo kukaa na mamangu. Observe the people you go to advise you. Mtu anakuadvise, natakanga ufanye business. You should be a very big businessman. Unafaa kuwa ukifanya hivi watu wanasikia. Mwenye anakuambia hajaifungua hata chips mwitu. Ni babako, hajaiuza hata chips mwitu. Hajaiuza hata pineapple kutoka retire. Na ako na Pro Box, hajaiuza hata marenge. Sasa atakwambia nini about business? What can he tell you about business? He can't. He's the last person to advise you on business or relationships. The same thing with your mother. Your mother is trying to advise you about your wife. Msichana ulioa, unaonanga ni kama anakupenda kweli? Mbona akuzali? Wewe usiniambie maneno ya bibi yangu wewe. Wewe usiniambie maneno ya bibi yangu wewe. Wewe ulizalia my dad 6 children or 7 children. Look at your life now. Kazi yako ukifika kwa chemist. Hello, niwakutumia pay bill, nilipia hizo dawa. Si ulipiwa na bwana yako wewe. Stop parentification. Na nikikulipia dawa unyamaze. Stop now trying to show me that I don't know or I don't have my life in check or anything. Observe your patterns. Ni sasa. You know, you should be having this conversation that are not easy. You know, me on my channel, we have this kind of conversations, you know. We don't come here to ponder. We are not here to just have conversations. You know, you don't even have to like the conversation. But the fact remains is that isn't zile vitu zinawasumbua. Now, you have taken all your money to church instead of healing. Observe your patterns. Observe your mother. Observe your father. Observe your siblings. Observe your auntie. Observe your uncle. Observe your great-grandfather. Look at the patterns before you hate yourself. Before you say you are cursed, understand that they were cursed before you. The sins of your fathers. all the way to the 4th generation, because that is the only way you are going to heal. Give yourself grace. Every day, you wake up, you are feeling a certain way, you are threatened by something, you are about to be evicted from the house na kila kitu. Before you blame yourself, you are not working hard enough, sit down, jita kamkutano. Pour yourself a drink. Chukua hapo, weka shot kwanza, piga shot, pa! Weka glass hapo. Mtu anakuja kunywa asubuhi, unamwambia boss, nimetoka mbali. Nimetoka mbali. Nimejiobserve. I'm actually doing very well. I'm actually doing very well. And I'm going to live for the moment, and the moment is now. This present moment is what I'm living. So I'm going to enjoy this moment. I don't care about pale mbele na kwenye nimetoka. What I care about is now. Am I at peace? Yes. Is my child okay? Yes. Is my spouse okay? Yes. Am I feeling good about myself? Yes. I'll do it my way. And you do it your way. And you do it your way. You get what I'm saying? And that's how you heal. But here where you are always victimizing yourself. Always hating yourself. Mtu anakuja na kuambia ati nimeona Karanja amenunua gari kubwa sana. Kwanza babako anakuongea nikaa tu madharau. Ati niliona yule rafiki yako amekuja na gari kubwa. Hiyo ni yake ama ni hizi mnafanyanga haya? That's your daddy. Now he's trying to put you down. Akukulipia college. Akukupeleka course, umesurvive, ulimaliza shule, ukaenda mjengo, you have built yourself from scratch. Anataka kukompea na Karanja. Karanja alimaliza shule, akapelekwa university. Kumaliza university, babake akampea apartment moja ishingi ndani, rent free, akamwambia chukua hiyo apartment na bibi. Wakati wa wedding kufanya, babake wakampeleka Rorashwe, babako hajai kupeleka Rorashwe, hata hajai kukubali bibi yako. Alafu mkiwa mahali event, babako anakuambia ala, Karanja amekuja. Doni na kali kinene. Shut the fuck up. You don't know Karanja. How about you ask me? I'm your son. Show some respect. Give grace to yourself. You are amazing people. You are beautiful people. And no one should try to put you down at all. No one should try to bring you down at all. Hakuna mtu anafaa No one should make you feel less of yourself. You are doing amazing. You are beautiful. You are not ugly. You have not failed. And you will heal. And the best is yet to come. If you observe your patterns and keep going. Kuna mtu anauza wewe na hii African culture mtu anaweza. You have to say no. You have to disconnect the phone. I like giving examples in myself. There's no shame. Yesterday my mom called me. Nataka unitumie fare. Kamwambia sina fare. Ajanisalimia. Unasikia venye ameanza simu? Ajanisalimia. Ajaniuliza how are you doing? How is your wife doing? How is your child doing? How is everything happening? The first thing kuchukua tu simu hivi, nataka unitumie fare. Sina fare. Niko kimenya uria ngwika sawa. And I feel nothing. Do I love my mother? Yes. That is love. Because I'm not going to pretend, send her the money, and I'm even sending her the money with the bad thing. Hiyo gari ende toboke mguu or something happen. No. It's not even payback. She should know better. She should come correct. That's how you heal. The moment you start saying no to boundaries, I have boundaries. Tukiongea maneno ingine tunaweza ongea. We can talk. Other things we can have conversations. Good. But when it comes to disrespect, I'm not going to be disrespected. Hello, Sasa niko hapa kwa chemist, nimepata dawa za 16,000, sina 7,000. Unaweza tinitumia? Siwezi tuma 7,000. Au kumeniambia unaenda hospitali? Huko umeniambia unaenda hospitali. Ulikuwa umeniambia, huko umeniambia. So am I just supposed to send you 7,000? No, you have to look at our relations. See, ati naweza tafuta kama sina nikutumie. But do you have that kind of relation? No. We don't have that kind of relation. When we have that kind of relation, then we can get to that point. Say no. Na usiogope. Say no, because that is the only way you are going to start having self-respect. Self-respect. And when you have self-respect, you cannot be abused. Either at work, in relationships, or in the world. Self-respect comes first. Ni sawa sawa? Do have a beautiful, what time is it? It's going to form. So we are going into Maria Immaculate energy. That is Virgo. In a few minutes it will be Virgo. So do enjoy your 6th house energy coming up in a few. Seji yanyu inakauka, una seji yanyu inakauka hapa. Unasikia inachezewa hiyo music. 432 Hz. Hiyo ndio ile music naekanga kwa seji kikauka. You hear that music? 432 Hz to ground my sage. Naekanga kwa simu nairusha kwa sage hapo. Inakaa hapo. Because sage is supposed to be healing. You know what I'm saying? So I do all the alchemy. It's supposed to be healing, to be grounded before ifungwe. Ni sawa sawa? I was there once. I was such a people pleaser in the name ya staki kukosana na watu. Yeah, now you are better than before. So shout out to everyone. Each one teach one. Nasemanga teamwork make the dream work. Wakati ulikuwa nataka kuongeza. Ulikuwa nataka kuongeza nini hapo? Sidhani kuna kitu ya kuongezea hapo. Si sawa? Nawapenda wote kama Prezo, mafans mi nawapenda wote. Mliona Prezo akianguka hapo. Shout out to Prezo, anaitangwa Ngechu. CMB Prezo is my friend kutoka kitambo sana, miaka mingi sana, over 8 years ago. Anyway, ciao ciao. Wear the mask before you can save others. Shukran.